accepting, how to accept yourself. Accepting yourself is loving yourself unconditionally. Accepting yourself is valuing yourself, whether it's mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, or financially. When you're accepting yourself, you're accepting your reality. So that being said, hey you guys, it's Ty, and welcome back to today's video. How to accept yourself. When it comes to accepting yourself, you want to identify where you are in your life right now. When it comes to accepting yourself, what has helped me along my journey was to understand my past, my present, and my future. How you go about accepting yourself is allowing yourself to understand what you've been exposed to in your experiences. So with that being said, everybody in life does not have the same finances, the same resources, the same opportunities, whether geographically, emotionally, financially, or intuitively. Yes, we all have the same sun and moon, but everybody doesn't have the same privileges in life. So when it comes to accepting yourself, what has helped me along my journey, and what I want to suggest and advise to you guys first is to, one, take a step back. Take a step back. When it comes to accepting yourself and really loving yourself unconditionally, you have to understand where you are in your life right now. The past is a moment that no longer exists, and unfortunately, we can't go back in time to change it. What we can do is accept where we are in the present moment, reflect, identify certain areas in our life, whether they were positive and negative, and move forward. So how do we move forward, and how do we accept ourselves? What I want to suggest and advise is understanding your strengths just as much as you do your weaknesses. In society, because most of us have been conditioned and trained and programmed and only are exposed to opportunity and resources that we've been provided with. That just doesn't mean that you're not able to grow. This doesn't mean you're not able to educate yourself. But if you grew up in a certain environment, if you grew up with certain finances, if you grew up with having, you're only able to expose yourself and identify what you've been going through in life based off of what you've experienced. And your experiences are not to be invalidated. I'm not here to invalidate you. I'm here to suggest and advise information to the collective, as well as educate you guys and inform you guys by using natural resources such as the dictionary, the internet, Akashic records, environments, my experiences, and resources. Or any other information like textbooks, audios, examples, and most importantly, my experiences. I don't like to suggest and advise information that I haven't gone through, and if I haven't gone through it, because everybody in life goes through things differently and everybody handles things differently, I educate myself. So when it comes to accepting yourself, understanding if you were born in a certain environment and you didn't have control, if you lacked certain information, if you lacked finances, if you were ignorant, you lacked knowledge, you didn't have the guidance, you didn't have emotional support, you didn't have financial support, not being so hard on yourself. Understand your strengths. Understand that in those moments where you suffered, where you had anxiety, when you had depression, that you could only do the best that you could. Now, in the present moment, if you're aware of where you are and you want to heal and you come across these videos, you come across these pages to heal yourself, you're in the right direction. We cannot go back in time. So one thing I want to suggest and advise when it comes to accepting yourself is learning to not be so hard on yourself. You cannot be hard on yourself. You can't beat yourself up for not knowing information that you know now. I see a lot of people make videos if they could suggest and advise what they would tell the younger self. I don't want to say that I don't agree with that, but I don't condone that. I'm not going to tell myself what I knew now because you didn't know what you know now. You could tell people and share your experiences and share scenarios, and that's what I'm here to do, is represent myself as a vessel in the spiritual world to give messages to the collective, because I can't tell my younger self anything. I can only tell myself what I know now to move forward, and to hold myself accountable for past judgments and actions for things that I didn't have the knowledge or the information. I don't know if you guys can hear it. It's a loud plane. I'm not going to sit here and beat myself up about things that I didn't have opportunities and exposures to understand why I went through what I'm going through. So make sure you guys are staying hydrated, drinking plenty of water. Make sure you guys are preparing yourself for the weather because it is changing. So when it comes to your past, accept the decisions where you lacked. Accept the negative and the bad. Accept what people like to say, mistakes. I don't believe in mistakes. I believe in not knowing. Everything you do is calculated, whether you're aware of it or you just make decisions just because. So when it comes to accepting yourself, you want to practice being radical with yourself. So being honest with yourself. If you made decisions or mistakes in your past that caused you to suffer, that caused you anxiety, that caused you PTSD, OCD, or depression, acknowledge it. Acknowledge it. You cannot change your past. The longer you stay holding on to something that no longer exists, the harder it is for you to be in the present moment and for you to move forward. You can't accept yourself if you're beating yourself up. You can't accept yourself up if you're hard on yourself. You can't accept yourself if you didn't have the resources, the financial, the support, the emotional support, or yourself. We as people are responsible for our decisions. If you were led misinformation, or if you weren't guided appropriately, or you didn't have certain resources to accomplish certain things, why do you expect a certain reality or outcome? It's an illusion. A lot of people worry themselves before doing things, or people worry themselves after they do something when they didn't have the certain information or the guidance or the love or the money or the finances or whatever it is, the tools to better themselves in a situation. Because honestly speaking, if you have everything that you need in your life to move forward, it's a choice. Healing is a choice. It's also a journey. So there's no right or wrong way to do it. So don't allow your fear, which is false evidence, to be real, and things from your past to cloud your judgment. Own your outcomes. I made a lot of naive decisions where I lacked knowledge, and intentionally or unintentionally, I had to suffer the consequences. I acknowledge what I've gone through, and this is why I share what I've gone through, not to tell my business, not to overshare, not for people to use it against me, because whatever people think about me, it's not my business anyways. But to be an example, it's okay to make decisions where you didn't have information. It's okay if you made decisions. For me, for example, the things that I share and most civilians have gone through are relatable. I like to be a relatable person because anybody can know knowledge. Wisdom is something that is gained over time. Knowledge is researching. It's the difference between having wisdom and knowledge. I have a lot of wisdom. And I don't allow people, places, and things that are not aligned with me from my past, in my present, or my future to dictate that. And that's the same thing I'm going to suggest and advise when it comes to you. When you accept yourself unconditionally, you value yourself, regardless of identifying from your past, your present, or your future, and knowing what you've gone through. Like, when I got into a car accident, I didn't know how to drive. I taught myself how to drive. It's only been maybe 2-3 times out of my entire life that my parents took me to drive. I taught myself how to drive. I got into a car accident because I had to teach myself how to drive. My parents didn't teach me how to drive, and I'm not saying nothing against them, but it is what it is. I grew up with younger parents. My parents were young. My parents grew with me as I grew with them, and now I just have one parent. So when I got into the car accident, yeah, I was upset. Yeah, I was discouraged. And most importantly, I should be grateful I'm alive. Like, I did damage my body, my physical body. And that's the thing. People do not realize that it only takes a matter of seconds for you to no longer exist, and that this life is not guaranteed to us. So you want to make the best of the life by accepting. Like, I had to accept the fact that I didn't know how to drive. I was 19 years old. I taught myself how to drive. I didn't know how to drive. I taught myself how to drive, and I didn't know how to drive. That's why I got into a car accident. Yes, necessarily it wasn't my fault, like in the situation of the accident, but I didn't have the experience. Why would I be so hard on myself that I didn't have experience when it comes to driving? And that I'm just grateful that I'm alive, because I was not supposed to live. To me, I don't feel like I should have, it was really tragic. So if I had an experience to know how to drive, why would I be so hard on myself? That's something I had to learn to accept. I know now I drive like an old man. I drive the exact speed limit because of my experiences, and that's what I suggest and advise to you guys. Like I said, I have a lot of wisdom. So accepting yourself is realizing that when it comes to struggling, I don't even look at it as struggling. It's a part of growth. That's what growing is. Pain is not suffering. That's you going through life, because once again, there are no coincidences. What you do is how you feel and what you know. If you only know certain information, for example, like how I was raised, like my parents were raised off of survival because of what they've been taught down. If I want to expand myself and grow out of this survival mode, I have to educate myself. I have to expose myself. I can't be hard. I've learned to accept my parents for knowing and providing and doing the best that they could. Because everybody in life is not born silver spoon or in poverty. People are born however they know best. So one thing I want to suggest and advise when it comes to accepting yourself is not to point fingers, is not to blame people, is not even to blame the situations that you're in. If you, like myself, didn't have experience driving you into a car accident, why would you be so hard on yourself? Be grateful that you're alive. It's the opportunity that a lot of people do not experience in life. When it comes to accepting yourself, you want to understand that you don't need to neglect yourself when you made decisions. For example, another example, I was in a relationship. I have never been in a long-term committed full relationship in a way that was negative in my perspective. And it taught me a lot about myself. There's certain things that I did that I wouldn't have done, but I didn't know any better. I didn't have the guidance. So when it comes to accepting yourself, you want to be able to consider and, allow your situations and yourself to grow and not be so hard on yourself. When it comes to accepting yourself, you have to understand that if you're more negative, if you're hard on yourself, and this society that we live in is majority, I would just say majority of the time, it could be negative. Why would you allow yourself to even be more attacked? If there are other things in society that we can't control, such as people, environments, and places, you can control yourself. You can control your emotions. You can control your thoughts. You can control what you do. A lot of people are in denial. Don't be in denial. If you choose to be in denial, of course, you're going to have issues inside and out. I can't tell you what you can and cannot do, but if you're here, you're watching these videos, not just to watch me and what I have to say, but to better yourself. I'm not here just to look at the screen, okay? I tell you guys all the time. So when it comes to accepting yourself, you want to be able to let go. And it takes time. Like, that's why you don't want to compare yourself or look at anybody. Like, there is no such thing as competition. How are you in competition with anybody when you're not everybody? How are you in competition with anybody when you're not everybody? How are you in competition with anybody when you're not everybody? You know how many Burger Kings, McDonald's, hair salons there are in the world? It's enough for everybody equally. What does somebody else's success and what other people have to do being well, what does that have to do with you? That's why you forever feel like you need a void. And when you do things that are not genuine or aligned from your spirit or healing yourself, you're always going to be attacked. You're always going to feel depressed. You're always going to have anxiety. You're going to want to kill yourself because you're not being true to who you are. So when it comes to accepting yourself, you have to realize what you have control over and what you don't. And you have to realize what is working for you and what's not. You can't change things that's already happened. You cannot change how people feel. That's why I don't tell you guys what to do. On this channel, I suggest and advise information, like I said, from experiences. Everything I talk about is an experience. I don't just, when people ask me what type of books do I read, I don't read books at all. It's not that I can't retain information. Everyone learns and grows differently. I am very much a strong believer in experiences because it's like if I haven't gone through it or if I don't take my time to learn what it is, what needs to be said, what's the purpose of talking. Now, of course, this is me. It's not a podcast and not to invalidate people's opinions because everyone's entitled to say and do whatever it is. But me personally, I don't align myself for everybody. That's why I am respected. I don't have to be liked by everybody because I don't like everybody equally too. So it's just like accepting myself is me being true to myself. Accepting myself is realizing I have a past. I have skeletons in the closet. Like people say, I made a lot of decisions, like I said, out of not knowing. I wasn't stable. I didn't have the guidance. I didn't have the finances. And the purpose of you going through these pain or suffering is to learn from it and move forward. Like, why would I continue the same decisions if I know how it made me feel mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially? When you've been in situations, it's a 50-50 chance either you put yourself in the situation or the situation happened. There is no in between. Well, I didn't know I was going to do this and I did that. If you didn't know, you didn't know. Now you know. Once you do something that's like, if someone tells you don't touch the stove, it's hot, and you're like, well, I don't believe them. You touch the stove and you burn your finger. Now you know. And me personally, I'm not the type of person to tell someone, oh, I told you so, but I am going to sit there and I'm going to look at you and I'm not going to say nothing. But if you're ready to come and, you're ready, because that's what I'm here for, like Harriet Tubman said and what I seen on TikTok, I'm not arguing with nobody that she would have shot. I'm not here for everybody. Like, I'm here for people who generally want to move forward because I'm moving forward. I'm a reflection of you. You're a reflection of me. Who you hang around, what you watch, what you entertain, that's for you. Only time I tell you guys to like, comment, and subscribe is when you guys are genuine. If you are a fan, it's the difference between being a fan and a supporter. Supporters are going to interact. Supporters are going to comment. Supporters are going to share. Supporters are going to let me know, what they're doing. Fans, y'all just going to watch. And at the end of the day, all I can do is pray for you, okay? So when it comes to accepting yourself, you want to be grateful. You want to practice gratitude. How do you go about doing that? What I want to suggest and advise is getting a journal. In this journal, I want you to document the time, the date, and your emotions. How are you feeling? If you don't have nobody confiding because you live in a toxic environment, or you don't have the resources, or you don't have the finances, or you're just lost, or you just feel so alone, write it down. Express yourself. If you're not able to channel out some type of emotion, it's going to be bottled up, and you're going to lose your mind. You're forever going to feel like you're hearing voices. You're going to have anxiety. You're going to feel depressed. Get a journal. Start to write down how you feel. If you don't want to get a journal, listen to some music. If you don't want to listen to music, go outside for a walk. If you don't want to go outside for a walk, exercise inside your house. If you don't want to exercise, watch some TV. Take a nap. There are so many outlets for people to go through. You don't have to have finances to do so. How? Because my finances are not where I need to be, but I've been making myself adapt. So when it comes to accepting yourself, you want to acknowledge, you want to adapt, you want to accept, and you want to take action. Adapt to your environment. If I don't have money to go out to eat how I want to, make food where I'm able to get the food for myself. If I'm not able to, I need to ask for assistance. There are programs, there are a lot of ways, there are a lot of outlets for people to do. I don't have nobody to talk to, I can get a journal. I don't feel like talking, I could take a nap. I don't feel like taking a nap, I could take a shower. I don't feel like taking a shower, I could do my hair. I don't want to do my hair, I could cook. I don't feel like cooking, I could read a book. I don't want to read a book, I could play a game, a card game, a video game. We put ourselves in situations that we don't want to hold ourselves accountable for, but we're also upset. That's not how it's going to work. So when it comes to accepting yourself, don't be so hard on yourself. Understand the progress. Understand what you're going through. Understand that the things that you went through. So after you write down how you feel, make a pros and a cons list. Start to getting to know yourself. If you're not ready to isolate yourself, you got to know that, okay, be mindful of the company that you keep. What am I watching? Who am I entertaining? Make a pros and a cons list. What do you like about yourself? What don't you like about yourself? What do you need in your life? What do you want in your life? It's up to you. In order for you to move forward, it's a choice. Nobody's going to tell you what to do or how to live your life. You have to be responsible, because once you get to a certain age, once again, the people that were in your life to show you what they knew and taught you what they could do, they can only be an example for such. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Live your life, and don't forget to say hello. And make sure you guys click the video on the screen right now to stay tuned for further videos, and you should watch this video.